All right, welcome back. Good Mythical Evening 2024 just happened, and I'm going to be making a follow-up to kind of last year's video of the last Good Mythical Evening, which was, is it worth watching? Kind of going to be doing a similar thing this time. First off, I will say that I was not able to do the live stream thing this time, so I don't know how the live stream thing went last time, or this time, because the previous times, every single time they did it previously, there was some sort of issue with the live stream. It was delayed, something happened, people weren't able to join. I'm not sure if that happened this time. I did get the package where I could view it after the fact, the VOD package, so I was able to watch the whole thing. Honestly, I'm gonna say that's the way to go. The way to do it is just to watch it back after it's already done, because there's no issues with that whatsoever. I could watch everything all in one go. It wasn't separated into like pre-show, after show, that sort of thing. It was just a whole long event, which was very nice. And I didn't have to worry about any issues with the actual live stream itself. But I don't know if there actually was an issue this time. And now we're going to go through all of the stuff that they did. So first off, they did a this is for the pre-show, I believe. They did the pumpkin alcohol rating where they rated a bunch of different alcohols for the pumpkins flavored and stuff. That was fine. After they did that, they did a Emily was the witch that was giving them the alcohol. It was cool. And I just want to say, like the costumes and stuff that they did were really good for them. Rhett was a werewolf, and it was really good, like practical effects, and Link, he was a vampire. That wasn't super hard to do, but Rhett's costume was crazy. They did mention last year was crazy because Emily had fallen. She was like going up to this wall, and she'd pushed on it, and she'd just straight up fallen over onto that wall. It was insane. They did edit that into this year's Good Mythical Evening, and the edit was pretty cringe, I'm not gonna lie, but it was fun to see it again. And before I continue any further, yes, Good Mythical Evening is cringe. However, that's part of it. That's part of the fun. It's going to be cringe, and there's a spectrum of cringe out there that people can tolerate, and that is totally part of it. That's totally part of it. The silliness, the wackiness, the cringe of it all is why personally I come back to watch it every year. Is because that is kind of the point in a way, is to be silly and fun and do things that they're not allowed to do on YouTube. Again, a staple of Good Mythical Evening at this point. Link gets way too drunk, way too fast. Of course. They did a costume guessing game, which, you know, again, was pretty fun. The costume guessing game was pretty fun. In general, I will say that the games are not like the highlight of Good Mythical Evening. I'm sure the games were good and thought out well, but just the fact that they are getting drunk, and especially Link in this case, he kind of just derails every single game, and every single game takes like way too long and is drawn out to a long unneeded time. But that's also the nature of them doing this show live. Is there's going to be more downtime. There's going to be more chaos in the midst of all these games. They're not going to, you know, they don't have the luxury of editing these things out. But I will say, sometimes it is hard to watch when Link keeps droning on about random fucking topics every few minutes. But that's part of it. I mean, personally, I'm not necessarily coming here for the games. I'm coming here for the interaction of all these people and trying to get through it. It's essentially just like, it's kind of like the crew and Stevie and Rhett and everyone else trying to get through the night with Link trying to derail it. That's almost the vibe that it is. And I don't hate Link or anything. I'm not, you know, he is who he is, and then that's fine. It's just that's kind of how it seems it's going, is they try and control and take the reins, and take the reins is funny if you've watched it already. They try and take the reins, but Link always wants to say something or do something, and they're trying to reel him back in. And again, the special effects were actually really good. I'll get into this a little later, but they had a lot of set design and a lot of really cool stuff special effects wise that was super cool. Brittany was possessed by a demon, and her head was spinning around and shit, and she was thrown up. It was really cool. And if you don't already know, this was a Halloween themed Good Mythical Evening. And then they did a glory hole game. Yes, they did a glory hole game. It's called Gory Hole or whatever because Halloween themed. They basically put a strap on on with an item in the strap-on. The first one was like a lighthouse, and the second one was a snake. Spoiler, but you know, that's not the thing that you'd have to worry about being spoiled. It was pretty funny. That was probably my favorite game, just because of the imagery was so insane. I was like, holy shit! I wish I could have some like screenshots or like pictures of it, because it was so crazy. But it's just you can't do that. And yeah, once they put whatever it is, the tower or the snake, through the hole, then the other person has to guess what that item is by touching it and not using their hands. And of course, they lean into it and use their mouth. Of course. And there's also a pre-filmed segment of this live stream, which I think is fine. It was fairly well produced. But Link's dad is a exorcist, except for he is a sexorcist, and Brittany is the demon that they're trying to exorcise. And Jesus Christ, I just have to tell you guys that a lot of the jokes are very middle school humor. It's almost akin to if you were to take some middle schoolers and tell them, hey, you guys can be as inappropriate as you want. There's no limits. You can be as inappropriate as you want. Go ahead and make these jokes and it'll be great. And that's the kind of level of jokes that we got. I'm saying that because of what it is, and because of they really take the opportunity to swear and say vulgar things. But because they never do it, like actually on film, they just sound like it's their first time swearing ever in the world, and you can tell, and it's kind of again, it's a little bit cringe, but it's also part of the whole experience. They also did a blackjack game where they had to guess how many calories a sex position would take to burn for a certain amount of time. I don't know if I explained that well, but they're essentially given an amount of calories based on candy, and they have to pick a sex position and give a amount of time that they have to do that to burn that amount of calories. And this, you could tell in this section that Link was way sauced. He was blabbing. He was yapping, that's for sure. He almost becomes unintelligible and a little bit annoying, but you know, it's getting close to a line where like this guy is just getting really annoying, but you have to remind yourself that this is kind of the thing. This is kind of what this is. So, you know, it is what it is. Honestly, when he was talking sometimes, it felt like Joe Biden trying to fucking give a speech or something. It was a slog occasionally. Link keeps saying like, can I please take the reins for a minute? Can I please talk? But he's already talking over everybody. It kind of became a joke at some point, because they're like, you want to take the reins? You've kind of had the reins this whole time. And they're trying to reel him back in throughout this, like very much through the second half. They're trying to rein him back in and trying to get him to play the game, and he's just kind of not playing the games. And they're trying to get him to play the games because they have a certain amount of time that they have to meet. It's kind of... Then the next game they do is a blood drinking game. This was gross. This was pretty gross. But they essentially were given a few choices. There was like pig, cow, chicken, sheep, different types of blood, and they had to drink the Bloody Mary. And Josh was a zombie in this game as well. And he was playing along with them, and Josh was actually pretty good in this segment. I really appreciated Josh's contribution. They drink this blood, and it's gross. It's fucking gross, but it's fun to see. It's fun to see that, you know, like they've eaten blood before, and they've tasted like beef bile and shit before, and on the main show. So it's not something that they like would never do or anything. It's pretty in line with that sort of thing, but god damn, it's kind of gross. And then finally they kind of end with that for the main part of the show. And then the after show, they do the shirt guessing game. If you watched like the Moors before on Good Mythical More, they do a shirt, and they kind of slowly reveal the shirt, and you can read what the shirt says as they reveal it, and they try and guess what the shirt is going to say. A very funny common thing that they've had with these shirts are like slut shirts, I guess, and that's kind of become a running joke. And so they leaned into that for Good Mythical Evening, of course. And yeah, It was fun. They were really starting to get close to the time that they had to meet at this point, so they were kind of rushing things. But that's you know, it's nobody's fault, but maybe Link's. So it was still fun, and you could tell some of the crew was a little uncomfortable, and some things were said that people were like, "Oh my god!" But that happens anyways, even not on Good Mythical Evening. But you know, that is part of the reason why I come back every year to watch it again. It is fun. It is exciting to watch, and you are left guessing what they're going to do next year and what crazy shit might happen next year. And this is best summed up as a fun experience where you have to take into account that there will be some cringy humor, there will be some middle school-esque jokes, but that is just part of it. It doesn't take away from anything necessarily. It just is a part of the experience, and that is the whole point. I feel like, and it's also to make these jokes and to do these things that they're not able to do on YouTube, and it is fun. I will say that. So my recommendation: skip the live. You don't need to watch it live. Maybe if something crazy fucking happens, you might want to be live so you can see it happen. But if you don't have the time, get the recorded version after the fact, because you don't have to worry about any live stream issues. You don't have to worry about so many things, and you get to watch it all after the fact anyways. It's very fun. And thank you so much for watching. This has been my 2024 review of Good Mythical Evening, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.